Hey guys, welcome to video, I think it's number 4 in my bike collection video series. So this is a video about my 2014 Salsa Fargo 2, being that it's the Model 2 in the lineup. So I'm trying to remember the backstory on this, why I ended up getting this bike in the first place. Because I had a Yeti cyclocross bike, and it was essentially my road bike, and I did do some gravel road riding on it, and I put about a 40 mil tire on it, and my Cannondale that I had shown in the first video I think in this series was essentially my mountain bike, and at the time it was a 26-inch, and I was looking to get my first 29er, and so when I was looking at bikes, I was looking at the Salsa, the El Mariachi, and then I noticed these Salsa Fargos. And honestly, I don't do that much actual off-road mountain biking. Really, I should do more because I used to really enjoy it. But this bike really interested me. It fascinated me. So I ended up ordering one. So this is basically my first 29er. And I will refer to it as a mountain bike because that's what it is. Essentially, it is a drop bar mountain bike. So the drivetrain essentially is a mountain bike drivetrain, but it uses road shifters, and then it uses a drop bar. But it's not a typical road drop bar. It is supposedly a bar that is specifically designed for off-road use. So I don't know if you can see it from the video footage, but the drops actually flare out to the side, and they're super comfortable. The way I have this bike set up, so I think the idea behind the bike is actually that you would spend the majority of your time in the drops. So I don't have it set up for that type of riding position. So the idea being is you would set it up actually quite high, and you would ride in the drops basically 100% of the time, and you would ride in the drops off-road. But I've got it set up kind of in between a road bike and in between how they kind of wanted you to have them. So it's super comfortable. I mean, I can ride pretty much all day in the drops if I wanted to. Up on the hoods, it's super comfortable. It's kind of, when I'm up on the hoods and I'm out of the saddle, especially if I've been riding my road bike at all, it does feel kind of high and kind of unusual, but it's a bike that's designed for riding all day. So Salsa refers to this bike as a touring backpacking bike, but when I saw it, I saw like a high-speed gravel road cruiser, and it's definitely that. I would describe it like, those those really big BMW off-road motorbikes with lots of power. They're really fast, and then you can take them off-road and they will handle some off-road riding. That's basically what a Salsa Fargo is. I believe the Salsa Fargo lots of people use them on the Tour de Divide race. I believe the bike has won the Tour de Divide race, I think under the Jay Padavari. He won the Tour de Divide on a Salsa. I believe he set, I think the record's been set now, or broken now, but he did set a record on a Salsa Fargo. It does use generally a mountain bike type drivetrain, but the gearing on it is actually oriented a little bit more towards gravel road use. So it uses a 42 tooth big ring, whereas usually on a 29er mountain bike, I think you'd see like a 39, 38, 36 tooth. And then the small ring on it is a 28 tooth, so it's not a tiny climbing gear. So the idea being is it's for faster riding. It does use an 1136 cassette on the back, and I've left it with that wide range because I live in a mildly mountainous area, and we do have definitely have some hills, some gravel climbs where I do end up using the 2836, and some days it actually feels like I could even use a easier gear. So one of the real benefits about this bike is you can run a wide range of tire diameters. So in the rear, you can run up to a 2.4 inch. Right now I have 2.235, I think these Salsa Supermotos. As you guys probably know, I have a Lauf suspension fork on it right now, which I think will only handle up to a 2.3, 2.4. But the stock fork is, which I still have here, this is, I believe it's the Carbon Fire Starter. This will handle a 29 plus wheel. So you can run a 3-inch with a 50 mil rim. There's so much clearance here. I did like this fork because you could carry water bottle cages on it. So if you were going out for a really long ride, you could carry a bunch of bottle cages. So what? 1, 2, 3, 4. You could carry 5 bottle cages if you were to actually use the underneath position here, which I've never used, but I keep forgetting that that's there. So there may be a time where I might actually use that position. So the bike also came with a Crane Creek Thud Buster, and initially I was like, you know what, I'm probably going to change that. But once I rode on it, I actually liked it. You don't really notice it, so I didn't really notice it moving. So I didn't feel like I wanted to get rid of it. And for longer rides on rough gravel roads, it can only help you. The only downside is the fact that it's a heavy post. It's not a super light bike. It's probably 25, 26 pounds. If you right now have a cyclocross bike and you don't race cyclocross, I'd highly recommend checking one of these out. They do also have, it's just been introduced for 2016. They have now, because this bike and this genre of bike has become popular, you know, you could buy bikes like this from some of the smaller independent frame builders, but I think Salsa was the first mainstream bigger manufacturer to kind of jump on it and start selling bikes like these in mass. And it's been pretty popular. So they have now actually introduced a full carbon version. It's called the Cutthroat. So there is a carbon fiber version, and if you read the material on it, it's kind of become more racy, and they kind of call it a Tour de Divide race bike. So it is a little more performance oriented. I looked at the cheapest model, and it's very similar to this bike in terms of componentry spec. It uses the same fork, the fire starter, but then it's carbon frame. It doesn't use the thud buster. So I'm definitely interested in, I would purchase another one of these. I will be purchasing a similar genre of bike that when I go to replace this, I'll definitely want another one. I have no interest in a cyclocross bike since I've owned one of these. And the main reason being is the ability to run all these tire widths. So I have these Schwalbe Supermotos on there, which are 2.235. I have some, what are these, Rocket Ralphs, which are 2.25. I also have these Clement Explorer 700 by 40. Which I've run on here occasionally. When I'm riding by myself, I definitely prefer to run the fatter tires. And my reason for that is where I live. Like I've said, we got some good gravel climbs here, some really fast gravel downhills, and I just prefer the confidence and security of fatter tires. I think it makes the downhilling way more fun. I can attack them full bore without having to think about, you know, I'm running 40 millimeter tires. I can't take this full bore assault. And also for climbing grip, we have some good tough gravel climbs here, and I just prefer to climb them with 2-inch tires. I mean, you have all the traction you want. You don't have to worry about slippage. And then I do have the narrower tires, particularly if there's a group ride or whatever. And I know I'm riding with fit people. I will put on those 40 millimeter tires just for lower rolling resistance. But yeah, this bike is amazing. It's one of the most fun bikes I've ever owned. I like to refer to it as my most versatile bike that is still legitimately fast. This is a fast bike, like on flat terrain, downhill terrain, slightly rolling terrain. This thing is fast. With these particular tires, the Schwalbe Supermotos, again, if it's flat to slightly rolling terrain, my average speed on this isn't much slower than on my road bike. And in fact, on some Strava segments where I've attacked it, both my road bike and on this bike, particularly if they're technical, meaning that, you know, you're cornering super hard or you're on the brakes super hard, in some cases I'm faster on this bike than I am on my road bike, just because of the confidence level. The riding position is super confidence inspiring, particularly with these Schwalbe Supermoto tires. Like, you can corner on this thing practically like it's a motorcycle, and then disc brakes as opposed to rim brakes. obviously give you a braking advantage in your head and in reality in terms of their performance. So Salsa Fargo 29er adventure bike. It's a amazing, do-it-all, fast, high-speed bicycle. I love it.